There is a book. It describes the fall of angelic beings, the corruption of humanity, the reason for the great flood, the judgment of beings who existed before Adam. It names them. It describes what they taught. It records their punishment. It was quoted directly in the New Testament. It was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. It was read by early Christians and early Jews as sacred scripture. And then, at some point in the 4th century, it was removed. Welcome to Unburied Remnants. The truth was never lost. It was buried. Let's dig in. One church kept it. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, one of the oldest Christian institutions on earth, has included it in their Bible for over 1,600 years. They call it Metzafe Enoch, the Book of Enoch. Today we are going to read what was buried, the man who never died. Before we open the book, we need to understand who Enoch was, because his story in the canonical Bible is one of the strangest passages most people walk right past without stopping. Genesis chapter 5 is a genealogy. It follows the pattern. So-and-so lived this many years, had sons and daughters, and then he died. Over and over. Until we get to Enoch. It does not say he died. It says, Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more, because God took him. The Hebrew word used there is lakach, to take, to carry away, not to die, to be taken. The New Testament book of Hebrews confirms this. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. Enoch is one of only 2 people in the entire Bible described as not dying. The other is Elijah, who ascended in a chariot of fire. So who wrote this book? According to both Jewish and early Christian tradition, the same man. A man so close to the divine that he was taken directly into the presence of God, received visions, and recorded what he witnessed. Modern scholars date the text itself to the 3rd and 2nd centuries BCE, but that is actually not the most important question. The most important question is, what does it say? 1 Enoch, chapter 6. In the days when the sons of men had multiplied, handsome and beautiful daughters were born to them. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, Come, let us choose for ourselves wives. 200 of them descended. The text gives us the location, Mount Hermon. Still a real mountain, it sits on what is now the border between Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. The name Hermon in Hebrew comes from a root meaning devoted, as in sacred oath. Because the text says they swore an oath together on that mountain. Their leader is named Semyaza. One of the chief watchers is named Azazel. And 1 Enoch says Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates. He showed them metals and how to work them. He taught women about beauty, cosmetics, and enchantments. Other watchers taught astrology, the movements of celestial bodies, the reading of omens. The text frames all of this as corruption, forbidden knowledge handed to humanity before it was ready. And when the Nephilim begin consuming everything, first the animals, then the humans, God acts. God sends 4 archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. He instructs them to bind Azazel in the darkness beneath the earth, under jagged rocks until judgment. To tell Semyaza and the others that they will watch their children destroy each other, and then be bound in the valleys of the earth until the day of great judgment. And then God sends the flood. This is the story that Genesis chapter 6 references in 4 verses and moves on from. The Book of Enoch tells you everything those 4 verses left out. Here's the moment most people don't expect. Open the New Testament. Find the letter of Jude. It is short, 1 chapter, 25 verses. Almost everyone has walked past it. Verse 14 and 15. And I am going to read this carefully because it is important. Enoch, the 7th from Adam, prophesied about these people. See, The Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge everyone and to convict all of them of all the ungodly acts they have committed in their ungodliness, and of all the defiant words ungodly sinners have spoken against him. That is a direct quote from Jude in the New Testament, citing the Book of Enoch by name. Not as mythology, not as a secular text. Jude introduces it the same way New Testament writers introduce any prophet. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied this. The quote itself comes from 1 Enoch chapter 1, verse 9. It is verbatim. Scholars have confirmed the match in the original languages. Jude also references, in verse 6, angels who did not keep their proper domain, kept in eternal chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day. That is the Watcher's story. Jude knows the full narrative of 1 Enoch. Jesus himself, in the Gospels, uses a specific title repeatedly, the Son of Man. Scholars have noted for over a century that the specific usage, the Son of Man coming on clouds with authority to judge, appears in 1 Enoch chapters 46 and 48, predating the Gospels. This book was not fringe literature to the people who wrote the New Testament. So if the Book of Enoch was quoted in the New Testament, preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and kept in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible for 1,600 years, why is it not in most Christian and Jewish Bibles today? The answer requires understanding how the biblical canon was formed. Because it was not handed down from heaven fully assembled, it was decided by councils of men. For Judaism, the key moment is the Council of Jamnia, around 90 CE. Jewish scholars, in the aftermath of the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, began defining which texts were authoritative scripture. Enoch was excluded. The association of Enoch with early Christianity likely contributed. For Christianity, the process was longer. Early Christians read a wide range of texts. Clement of Alexandria quoted Enoch. Tertullian, one of the most important early theologians, argued strongly that Enoch should be included and was indignant that others rejected it. But by the 4th century, attitudes shifted. The Council of Laodicea in 363 CE published a list of approved books. Enoch was not on it. Jerome, who produced the Latin Vulgate, excluded it. By the time Athanasius finalized his Easter letter in 367 CE, listing the 27 books of the New Testament, Enoch had been effectively sidelined. But one community never stopped. The Ethiopian church maintained it continuously. And when fragments were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, in Hebrew and Aramaic, scholars could confirm these were not medieval fabrications. This was ancient scripture. The Book of Enoch tells a story. Divine beings descended. They corrupted humanity. They taught forbidden knowledge. Their offspring were the giants of Genesis 6. God judged them and sent the flood. Those beings are imprisoned, awaiting final judgment. That story is referenced in the New Testament at least twice by name. It was read as Holy Scripture by the people who wrote what is now our Bible. And then, at a particular moment in history, particular men decided you should not have access to it. That is not a conspiracy theory. It is a documented historical decision. The question worth asking is simply, why? Because the watchers are still in the ground. The text says so. And the judgment, according to the same text that the New Testament quotes, has not happened yet. Next episode, the Divine Council. We go back to the beginning, to the moment in Genesis where God says, "Let us make man in our image." Who was in the room? What does the original Hebrew actually say? And what do mainstream biblical scholars, not fringe theorists, actually believe about who God was talking to? Thanks for watching Unburied Remnants. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe to help support the channel. Stay curious, keep digging.